mọ́ la wà yìí ẹ̀mí mọ́ ló ń ṣiṣẹ́ lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ báyìí ṣùgbọ́n gẹ́gẹ́ bí àmì ìdánilójú wípé òun ṣetán àti tì pé lẹ́yìn olófin rán áńgẹ́lì rẹ̀ láti fi ara hàn mí nígbà yẹn.
bẹ́ẹ̀ la ṣe rángẹ́lì náà sí bàbá àpòstélì Joseph Babalọlá bẹ́ẹ̀ la ṣe rángẹ́lì sí bàbá Mósè Orímọládé lẹ́ǹkan sí ibo lẹ pé iléeṣẹ́ ìránṣẹ́ yín yẹn.
lákòókò báyìí a sì wà ní Odò
Ọwá Òkè Ẹ̀rọ ní Kwara State.
Odò Ọwá pé méjì o nǹkan wà ní Èkìtì mi wàá mọ tí a pẹ́ bí ṣùgbọ́n Kwara State
ní tọ̀dọ̀ Òkè Ẹ̀rọ.
ẹ bá ti ń jó máa rọ ẹgbẹ́ kọjá lọ sí Lọ́fà ẹgbẹ́ Ìlọ́fà nílùú Babalọ́lá Apostle Ayọ̀délé Babalọ́lá ìlú rẹ̀ gangan.
ẹ fi nọ́mbà yín sílẹ̀ ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ á fẹ́ pè yín láti wá gbàdúrà pẹ̀lú yín ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ á fẹ́ kẹ́ gbàdúrà pẹ̀lú àwọn gẹ́gẹ́ sọ pé Ọlọ́run fún yín níṣẹ́ ìránṣẹ́ ìtúsílẹ̀ ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ á fẹ́ kí Ọlọ́run kí ó lò yín fún àwọn lè fẹ́ pè nọ́mbà wo ló lè pè yín sísà.
nọ́mbà mi ní eléyìí MTN nọ́mbà àwọn nọ́mbà tó lọ kíákíá tí wọ́n pè mí fúnra mi ni màá gbé 070.
yes.
33.
yes.
27 0258.
lẹ́ǹkan sísà.
070.
yes.
33 27 0258.
ẹlẹ́ǹkejì tẹ̀sán kọ́.
yẹn glo number torí ó ṣeé ṣe kí yẹn máa lọ.
ṣé ká fẹ́ nǹkan fi MTN yẹn nìkan lẹ̀.
ní wọ́n jẹ́ ká fún wọn ní glo.
ó yá.
080.
yes.
55 07 10 18.
lẹ́ǹkan sísà.
080 55 07 10 18.
God bless you sir.
ẹ pariwo ẹ kí gbogbo ayé gbọ́.
Dewey Mix Pro Drinks ni.
ohun mímu tó ṣàwọn táàrùn gbogbo.
Dewey Mix Pro Drinks ni.
ó dára fọ́mọdé.
Dewey Mix Pro Drinks ni.
ó dára fàgbàlagbà.
Dewey Mix Pro Drinks ni.
bẹ́ẹ̀ni ṣé bí ohun gbogbo tọ́lọ́run dá dáradára ni fún ìgbáyé gbádùn gbogbo wa ẹ wá wo iṣẹ́ ìyanu tọ́lọ́run ṣe pẹ̀lú oríṣi èso méjìlá ọ̀tọ̀ọ̀tọ̀ tá a papọ̀ ṣọ̀kan. Dewey Mix Pro Drinks lórúkọ ẹ̀ ọ̀nà àbáyọ sí gbogbo àìsàn àti àrùn tó ń bàgọ́ ara wọ̀yá ìjà. Dewey Mix Pro Drinks kò ní kẹ́míkà kìkì èso la fi pẹ̀lú ẹ̀ ẹ̀rí tó dájú bẹ káàkiri orílẹ̀-èdè bíi 15 àjọ NAFDAC ti fòǹtẹ̀tẹ̀ a sì ń wá alágbàtà káàkiri orílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà ẹ kàn sí iléeṣẹ́ wa Dewey Agro Exclusive Services tó wà lẹ́yìn First Bank Arishekola Mosque Iwo Road Ìbàdàn ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ 08067777988 tàbí lórí ẹ̀rọ ayélujára deweyagrofruits@gmail.com. Dewey Mix Fruits àlàáfíà ló jẹ wá lógún.
ọkọ̀ tó bá wù yín tó lè fi ní lọ́kàn balẹ̀ tí ẹ bá fẹ́. ẹ bá wa dòwò. High-grade Motors Nigeria Limited lẹ́tí lè ríra.
bẹ́ẹ̀ni àwọn ọkọ̀ tẹ́ bá rí tó ṣe dáadáa lórí ọ̀dà tó fi ní lọ́kàn balẹ̀ tó dúró re High-grade Motors Nigeria Limited ló ń tà. gbogbo àwọn tó ti bá wa dòwò pọ̀ nípa mọ́tò rírà ló lè jẹ́rìí sí irúfẹ́ mọ́tò wo lẹ́yìn fẹ́. bá a ṣe láwọn káà látún ní Jeep ó wà lóríṣiríṣi bẹ́ẹ̀ bá ṣe fẹ́ sí. bá a ṣe import látún export guarantee wà lórí gbogbo àwọn mọ́tò tẹ́ bá rà lọ́dọ̀ wa. kò wá sí bó ṣe máa jẹ́ o tẹ́yìn bá ti fẹ́ ra mọ́tò tó fi ní lọ́kàn balẹ̀ tó ṣáná wọlé tó ṣá proper mọ́tò tó ń gbé bọ́dì tí kò sọ̀rọ̀ ẹ̀ di àgbàná fẹ́ni tó ń lò ó. ẹ wo High-grade Motors Nigeria Limited àwa gangan là ń tà. ẹ̀yin náà lè kàn sí ọ́fíìsì wa nọ́mbà 39 Ìtabalogun Street lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ Diamond Access Bank nílùú Iléṣà nípínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun tàbí kẹ́ ẹ máa pè wá sórí tẹlifóònù nọ́mbà wa 08138066222 tàbí 08055473331 email wa dayojo82@gmail.com ó yá start ẹ̀. ẹ gbọ́ bó ṣe dáhùn lọ́wọ́ kan High-grade Motors Nigeria Limited in God we trust.
tí Kristi ò bá tí ì dé a tún máa pàdé lọ́sẹ̀ tó ń bọ̀ Pastor Ṣeun Oyewusi 0033268846 0033268846 God bless you.
Teamsed 94.1 FM ó ta gbangba yíká alé yíká oko òkè àgbójà la fi kalẹ̀ sí.
This is your number one elite radio station.
Cristiano Ronaldo's first ever goal against Chelsea.
Teamsed Radio 94.1 FM. 94.1. Team Set 94.1 FM.
Let's go. This is your radio, your station. Team Set 94.1. The news.
Hello, good evening. Here is the national news. I'm Olamide Shonibario Wolabi. First, the highlights. Minister of Finance Zainab Ahmed says federal government will seek supplementary budget to fund COVID-19 vaccination program. Chief Afe Babalola says federal government's mass closure of universities is unconstitutional, disastrous. Osun Commissioner for Youth and Sport, Yemi Lawal, urges youths to channel their energy on profitable projects. PDP speaks on presidential ticket zoning as APC's debate. Court dismisses suit seeking Governor Rotimi Akeredolu's sack. Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde says Amotekun is after criminals. And now the news in details. The federal government said it was still working on the type and quantity of COVID-19 vaccines to procure when some other countries on the continent are already placing orders on the products. For instance, countries such as South Africa, Senegal, Kenya, and Egypt, among others, are expecting delivery of the vaccines in a few weeks. However, the Finance Minister, Mrs. Zainab Ahmed, who disclosed this yesterday at the 2021 Budget Ministerial Briefing, said the federal government would seek supplementary budget for 2021 fiscal year to fund coronavirus COVID-19 vaccination program. She said already a combined team of the relevant authorities, including the Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Health, and the Budget Office of the Federation, was currently working on the cost of the program. Mrs. Ahmed said the Minister of Health and his team were still working on the details of what it would cost the nation. According to her, once the executive arm is sure of what it would cost to buy the vaccines with the necessary logistics, a supplementary budget would be presented to the National Assembly. The United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, says closure of schools due to the COVID-19 pandemic will impact negatively on the development, safety and well-being of children globally, noting that schools are not drivers of the viral disease. UNICEF also warned that the effects of closing schools for another year will be felt for generations to come. The agency, in a statement yesterday, maintained that despite overwhelming evidence that schools were not drivers of the pandemic, steps have been taken to ensure that they remain shut. The United Nations agency noted that the number of out-of-school children is set to rise by 24 million to a level not yet seen in years and to a level that has fought so hard to overcome. Meanwhile, a legal luminary and founder of Afe Babalola University, Ado-Ekiti, Abuad, Chief Afe Babalola, has described as unconstitutional the mass closure of Nigerian universities by the federal government due to COVID-19 pandemic. Babalola said such action would turn out to be counterproductive and disastrous to the education sector, especially closing down of private schools without prior consultation. Babalola spoke yesterday in Ado-Ekiti at a press conference, espousing his views about attempts by the federal government to defer the resumption of universities earlier slated for January 18. He was reacting to the statement credited to the Minister of Education, Malam Adamu Adamu, that the January 18 order set by the federal government for school resumption would be reviewed. Babalola disclosed that the United States Center for Disease Control and Prevention had put all this into consideration when it officially recommended that universities should be accorded preferential treatment under COVID-19 in terms of operations. He said his 11-year-old university has been having a smooth and uninterrupted academic calendar before abrupt disruption by COVID-19, thereby stalling operations and closure of the university in spite of the world-class facilities it parades to prevent the spread of the lethal disease. He urged the federal government to emulate foreign countries by paying the salaries of lecturers in the private universities which were shut down because of COVID-19. Babalola reminded the federal government that should the low-risk private universities remain shut down to wait for high-risk one, will make the ivory towers remain in comatose for long. In the meantime, the Osun State Commissioner for Youth and Sports, Honorable Yemi Lawal, yesterday met with the executives of the Nigerian Youth Congress NYC Osun State Chapter. The meeting, which was held at the State Ministry of Youth, had in presence executives of NYC State of Osun Chapter and local government coordinators. The Nigerian Youth Congress NYC is a non-political, non-partisan organization with the responsibility of coordinating and regulating the affairs of youth. While addressing the NYC leaders, Honorable Lawal encouraged the youth to not limit their potentials to their certification, but to be open-minded in order to create solutions to existing problems. He urged the youth to be gainfully engaged and to channel their energy on profitable projects rather than destructive ones. Furthermore, he thanked the organization for honoring him with their visits, saying that NYC State of Osun will bring meaningful impact to what the government is doing in the state. He assured to provide NYC with his support. Earlier, Mr. Laolu Onifade, the state chairman of NYC, said NYC State of Osun Chapter has been effective for 10 months, and the essence of the meeting was to get the non-political organization recognized by the Commissioner for Youth and Sport, Honorable Lawal. He also assured Honorable Lawal that the NYC is spread across all the 30 local governments in the state of Osun. The People's Democratic Party, PDP, today said the party will take a decision on the issue of zoning of the presidential election at the fullness of time. PDP's National Publicity Secretary, Kola Ologbondiyan, spoke while appearing on a television program. Ologbondiyan said the ongoing discussion on the zoning of the 2023 presidential ticket in the All Progressives Congress, APC, is an indication of President Muhammadu Buhari's failure. He insisted that some APC chieftains who work towards Buhari's emergence are afraid that the party's agreement will not be reached. According to Ologbondiyan, there are conversations in the APC over where to choose their next candidate from, adding that PDP must also not lose understanding of this conversation. Meanwhile, Governor Yahaya Bello of Kogi State has boasted that the All Progressives Congress, APC, will continue to win the presidential election in the country. Bello said APC will continue to win due to the party's ability to mobilize Nigerians at the grassroots level. He spoke at the inauguration of the Party Women and Youth Sensitization and Mobilization Committee by the Yobe State Governor and Chairman Caretaker Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee, Governor Mai Malabuni, yesterday. The governor disclosed that APC will liaise with stakeholders across party lines to actualize the party's election goals. It would be recalled that Governor Bello was recently linked to APC's presidential ticket. The governor, however, distanced himself from such calls, which he had described as a distraction. A federal high court in Abuja has dismissed a suit that challenged the emergence of Oluwarotimi Akeredolu as the candidate of the All Progressives Congress, APC, in the last governorship election held in Ondo State. Justice Inyang Ekwo, in a judgment today, held that the suit filed by Mrs. Olajumoke Anifowoshe was statute barred on the grounds that being a pre-election matter, it was filed outside the 14 days provided in Section 185, subsection 9 of the Constitution. Mrs. Anifowoshe in the suit challenged the adoption of indirect primary by the APC on July 20, 2020, in nominating its governorship candidate for the last election in Ondo State. She prayed the court to void the outcome of the primary from which Akeredolu emerged as APC's candidate. Justice Ekwo held that though the suit, originally filed on July 29, 2020, was instituted within the 14 days prescribed under Section 185, subsection 9 of the Constitution, it was wrongly commenced when the plaintiff chose to sue the governor of Ondo State as against Oluwarotimi Akeredolu. The judge said the amendment effected by the plaintiff on the originating summons to substitute the governor of Ondo State with Oluwarotimi Akeredolu was done on August 13, 2020, outside the 14 days allowed by the Constitution. The judge said the amendment of the originating process for the purpose of substituting the first defendant would have been in order if it was done within the 14 days allowed for the commencement of pre-election cases under Section 185, subsection 9 of the Constitution. He noted that the governor of Ondo State is not the same as Oluwarotimi Akeredolu, and that while the former is an office, the latter is a human being who was a participant in the primary held on July 20, 2020. The judge added that it was Akeredolu who participated in the primary, which is being challenged, and not the governor of Ondo State, earlier sued by the plaintiff before the amendment was effected on the originating summons. Justice Ekwo faulted the argument by the plaintiff that the subscription of the governor of Ondo State with Oluwarotimi Akeredolu as the first defendant was a mere misnomer. He said since the original suit was defective, the substitution effected by the plaintiff outside the constitutionally stipulated 14 days cannot be regarded as a misnomer. You are listening to Teamset National News, coming to you from Teamset 94.1 FM, transmitting from Iliajiun, Okeagboja, Ijebu-Jesha, in the state of Osun, Nigeria. You can watch us live on YouTube and Facebook. Download Teamset app on Google Play Store. To the rest of the news, the leader of INRI, Evangelical Spiritual Church, Primate Elijah Ayodele, has made a revelation ahead of the 2022 gubernatorial election in Ekiti State, holding in 2022. Primate Ayodele said the only way the People's Democratic Party, PDP, can be victorious is by choosing Segun Oni as its candidate for the election. The clergyman warned PDP would give an easy victory to the All Progressives Congress APC if it fails to pick Oni as governorship candidate. Primate